And then I suppose Munster have been just came back and they've done so well this season in the Heineken Cup, and they're looking like the Munster of old, grinding out games and getting close victories. And O'Gara, imperious, I suppose, at the moment. And I suppose Cast, they're looking okay in the French league, but they're pretty much out of the running. So you expecting kind of an easy win for Munster in that one?
It's kind of it's a funny one, as you said, their patch. You know, Munster, they're 4 from 4, they're doing well in the league, but even by their own admission, even by McGann and McColl's admission, they're not by any means, a great side. They couldn't really measure themselves up against the Leinster or Toulouse at the moment. But in a way, it's suiting them more this year. They've kind of gone back to basics. Anthony Foley taking on the forwards job and Rory Fisher, BJ Bolt. It was an inspired signing. They had the option in the summer of either getting, let's say, a Conrad Smith or Sterling Mortlock, and they had the option of either getting that a marquee centre or a tight head, and they went in these things, but they spent the big bucks and they got bolted over Munster. But yeah, I mean, it could be. It's got that one. It could be sticky. I mean, Cast caused Northampton a lot of trouble last year in the Heineken Cup. It could be at the moment with Munster. I think they've got the experience. They're playing, good 10-man kind of attack in rugby. But Cast have enough quality there to, especially in the forwards, which his name escapes me now, the Kiwi back rower, They've plenty there. Joe Decore, I mean, they have a massive pack there, good solid backline, and they could come in, if it's a bit wet, it could get a bit messy, but as you said, it's the French mentality again. If Munster go out there, get a 10-metre line out, 10-0, Gareth starts taking over 2 penalties, or else make a few breaks, they get up a bit of a lead. Cast won't be bothered. They have bigger fish to fry in the top 14 at the moment, but it's all about progression, Munster. But really, in fairness to him, again, this year he's been really pushing the young fellas out. Like Peter O'Mahony, he's been an absolute revelation. I mean, he's been making, anyone who's been following the Ulster Bank League now would say O'Mahony's been, one to watch for a few seasons now. But him, he gave Danny Barnes a run. Like, Danny Barnes is probably very raw, but in fairness, like, he put him out there, and if he won a cup game, put him out against Northampton. Conor Murray is getting better all the time. Zebo, like as Flannery said in the Independent this week, he's very, very raw as well, but you can see the potential of the guy. I mean, the guy is serious pace, and they're getting their Munster, but like at the way they're going at the moment, they could be 5 from 5 this weekend, and then they've got to go play Northampton in Franklin's Gardens, who'll be gunning for them. But a home quarter final for Munster isn't beyond the realm of possibility, and after that, anything could happen.
Yeah, and well, I suppose there's if anything can happen, I suppose Connacht are looking for any kind of a win from anywhere, I suppose, and Toulouse away isn't the place to go and get it.
I don't know. You feel for any Connacht supporter or a fella like John Muldoon at the moment. There was so much positivity. I remember that even down here, just reading it on the papers and just getting the buzz from back home. That I remember that game at the sports ground against Toulouse. They wanted positivity around the place, and since it's just been, they can't buy a win at the moment. I mean, they should have, by all accounts, they should have had a win over Leinster last week, and it's just when you get into a bit of a rut. But like they've even the RFUs do foreign player protocol. I mean, Connacht weren't even included in that. You'd have to wonder what kind of message that sent to the team and management down there. Eric Elwood was trying to build something, and yeah, I mean, you'd fear for them. Like, the funny thing, actually, ironically, is that they've actually put in better performances away from home against Harlequins in Gloucester. Kind of when they should, by all accounts, they should have been put to the sword. Playing the league leaders, playing Gloucester at the Shed, big open pitch, Trinder, Sharples, all these fellas, but they actually dug it out. And you wouldn't, like, at the end of the day, the Stade Municipal, the Toulouse Stadium, it's not in the best of condition. They lost there to Harlequins, Toulouse, so you never know. I mean, it's inconceivable that they could go there and beat them, but you'd like to see them go out there and give some kind of, performance. But even looking at Connacht, the thing that baffles me is, their 4 best players from last year, Hagan, Keithley, John Kerr, and Sean Cronin, they could all be there playing for Connacht in the Heineken Cup. And apart from Cronin, really was impressed with Leinster. The other 3, Hagan's on British and Irish Cup duty, and Keithley's, on the bench for Munster. But I mean, Ron O'Gara isn't going to be taken off for Munster unless he's forced off the pitch. And then you've got Kerr, one of the best attacking backs in the country, featuring sparingly for Leinster. It's demoralising, really, but you'd just like to see them maybe get a bit of luck and get some wins under the belt, because they've got some fantastic backs there. Fellas like Griffin and O'Halloran and Dave McSherry, and Gavin Duffy. I highly rate. I think he's an excellent fullback. You just like to see them, kick on and get a few results.
Well, that's the thing. What is it? They thoroughly deserve to win the game over in Gloucester. I know they frightened Harlequins. Harlequins kind of brought it out in the end, but they thoroughly deserve to win over in Gloucester, and it's just they just found a way to lose, I suppose, as well. But I suppose at least against Toulouse, at least it's almost like a free game. I suppose they have a chance to do something. They're almost hoping again for a good performance. I suppose they wouldn't. The last thing they'd be probably wanting, if it does happen, is a good performance and another heartbreak. But they'll take any positives they can get at the moment.
It's very hard but the one thing, as well as I like to see Connacht do, I mean, Toulouse are a fantastic team to watch this year. I mean, you look at, they've always had a fantastic team, but they have this new Fijian wingers, Matt Navuvu or something on the wing. He's dynamite, and they're throughout halves. I mean, take your pick from Lionel Boxing or Luke McAllister, and they've got Will Guinea as understudy, Luke Burgess at scrum half, and pick them all. Nianga's looking rejuvenated. They've got Claire, the IRB Player of the Year, Gary Dukes at bar, Servat. I mean, it's frightening, really. They've got 4 players in the back 3 in the French squad for the Six Nations, I mean, like, if you're a Connacht player looking at that team sheet, you think, will we get on the plane? But, as you said, it's a free game. They can go out there. They've got the backs to go out there and scare them and cause a bit of damage, And at the end of the day, there are Six Nations places up for grabs. I mean, this guy, Ronan Loughney, the Connacht fighter, is getting loads of good press. And, you never know, a fella like, Griffin is in a very competitive position, but, he could sneak into a squad and, up his stock a bit. And, Muldoon, with Dennis Leamy's injury, Muldoon is well in there for, I don't think he'll start. I think that back row is fairly competitive. It's next and probably the best back rows in the world at the moment. But, there's a number 19 jersey there for Muldoon if he can get his hands on it. And obviously his contract's up for next year. I mean, every time they go out now, some of these players, they're playing for their futures. That's another fact of life in the professional game at the moment as well.
Yeah. And then I suppose the first game up out of the 4 provinces then is Ulster, and I was talking to Andrew Trimble, and he was saying that they're going to have to look at beating Leicester by over 7 points because it's just such a tight group, and they just need to basically get Leicester out of the picture before they can start focusing on an away day at Claremont.
We're still waiting. We haven't seen it really, bar the odd blip here and there under the Brian McLaughlin regime. We haven't seen Ulster put together one of those real quality 80-minute performances. They absolutely frustrate you sometimes because you look at their team sheet. Even their Irish players and supplemental guys like Afoa, and Pina and Muller, and you just think, and even see them at times in the league, some of the set plays they put together, and some of, like when Ian Humphries is on form, they play fantastic rugby. As I said, Trimble, I'm a huge fan of Darren Cave. I think he's an excellent player. Adam Darcy, superb at that, counter-attacking full-back, and obviously Stephen Ferris is an absolute institution up there. He's playing, and he looks to even be kicked on a bit from his World Cup performances the last few months, and that game, it's in their hands. I mean, they can't blame anyone. They qualified for the knockout stages for the first time in a decade last season. They were, fairly comprehensively beaten by Northampton in the last 8, but, they have the arsenal. They could beat, up at that night in Ravenhill, and they eat English teams for breakfast up in Ravenhill. They've beaten all the big teams up there, Wasps, etc. Even in their heyday, they could do that. They could beat. They've the capacity to beat Leicester by more than 7. But then you have to look at that. The week after, they've got to go to Claremont. And that's daunting. I mean, it's.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, isn't it? It's a big day, and I suppose one of the bonuses is that Leicester, they have a few players short. They have 2 laggies out, and looks like Flood is going to miss the game as well. So, what they kind of really need is just to. They've been managing to do it so far this season, having a big first half and maybe getting a bit of a lead, and hopefully if they get a chance, they can have a comfortable win and kind of ease off on some of the players, because that's some assignment next week.
It is. I mean, Claremont is a place. I mean, most sides, even Leinster and Munster included, it's kind of a case of if we get out with a bonus point, we'll be happy, because they are just. It's something about, like, Claremont. They're a little bit brittle when they leave the start Marcel Michelin, but when they're at home and when they get going, they're just an absolutely awesome team. I don't know. I wouldn't not looking at. Obviously, it's the game against Leicester is their prerogative, this weekend. But like if Claremont got going, I don't know, could Ulster live with them from the pace, but they could get themselves. I mean, they can get themselves into if they beat Leicester this weekend, they've got themselves into a fantastic position. It comes down to one game, and they've no one to blame. Or in past seasons, perhaps I think having Aroni in their group as well has benefited them hugely this year, and having those two, back-to-back games back in December, they clocked up to 10 points. But certainly, but this fella now in Leicester, that was it last week. He's a pretty 12-trees. The guy who's come in, he looks, it's all set up for it, isn't? He had a virtuoso performance last weekend, and all the British press have been building him up, and they'll be gunning from now this week at Ravenhill. He's kind of it set up. They're talking about this guy playing number 10 for England in the Six Nations already. So it's obvious. Fellas, I think McLaughlin have guys like Chris Henry and Ferris going. Do a number on this guy the first 20 minutes, but it's exciting anyway. It's fantastic to see it. We're Leinster and Munster were the pace setters for years, and actually seeing Ulster now, regularly featuring as a side who can actually qualify for a knockout stage, that can only benefit Irish rugby in the long term. But I fancy them. I'm not sure. I think Trimble, it's very, very ambitious, but I think that's going to be a very, very tight game. I think if they come out with a win, they'll be delighted. But Leicester still a quality outfit, fantastic scrum lineup. Big ball carriers. Even out to Golagi, they've got some excellent backs. Guisha there from Argentina. So I think they can do it. I think it's within them, but it sets it up very nicely if they can deny Leicester a bonus point, because then it's a winner takes all in France the weekend after.